Hello, mysterious person behind the screen, and welcome back to another series of audio commentaries with me and Isaac.
Hello.
And this time we're going further into the MCU with a series of commentaries on the Avengers quadrilogy. Starting off with 2012's The Avengers, or if you're in the UK, Avengers Assemble. Remember that? Like, it seems so weird now that it was retitled, but yeah. So the Avengers, the first Avengers from 2012. So yeah, without further ado,
If you'd like to sync this up with your own copy of Avengers Assemble, put the film to the start and press play in 3, 2, 1, go. The days before the long logo.
I was going to say it seems so weird to see the old Marvel logo on an MCU film.
Yeah, when did they start using the second logo? Was that like...
Yeah.
Was it Iron Man 3 or For the Dark World? Because this seems like... Yeah, honestly, you could split up the Marvel logos by phases, because...
Yes.
They use that for this one we've just seen for Phase 1. They use the next one for Phase 2, and then they use the really long one for like Doctor Strange onwards, which is Phase 3. So
yeah, the second one was from Thor: The Dark World. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So
and now we do have. I mean, we've got the same logo still for MCU films now, but obviously they've just updated the clips.
Yeah. And I don't think that'll be going away anytime soon, because that seems
probably
to be...
not, no.
Yeah, that seems to be their branding. Like, if you buy like a modern Blu-ray of this film, or any of the Phase 1 films, it'll have that logo on the box and stuff. So they've kind of unified it all now. Even the Incredible Hulk. Saw that the other day.
Because my copy is still has the Universal logo all on it.
Yeah, same.
So I suppose if you buy it in a box set, like the Phase 1 box sets, is it all Disneyfied, the menus with that ding when you have to choose your language?
I'm unsure. I know because I have the 4K of the Incredible Hulk. It's one of the only MCU films I have on 4K, and that is still Universal.
Oh, nice.
It's a Universal disc. So I don't think so. I think they kept that. I only have it because it was in a box set with the 2003 one. So might as well.
I was probably one of the only people on planet Earth who did not see this in the cinema.
Oh, really? Yeah, no.
Yeah, because me getting into the MCU was quite an odd way, because I remember when I was in year 7, this was like 2009. It was Christmas. My teacher put on Iron Man, for like end of the term. Got through half of that, never finished it. But
always the way.
When 4 came out, the first 4 film, me and a couple of former friends went to see it. But to be honest, for some reason they wanted to go see a film so they could piss about. And I don't get it. Why would you waste money just to do that?
Yeah.
But anyway, I did see the first 4 film in cinemas, and I didn't really get into the MCU proper until 2014 with when I decided to get all the existing MCU films on Blu-ray. And then from Age of Ultron onwards, I've made it a conscious effort to go see every MCU film that comes out in the cinema.
Yeah, definitely. Well, from my experience, this was the first MCU film I saw in the cinema, and
good.
I don't think I've missed any since. I think since this I've seen every one in the cinema, which is it just feels weird now that this is only the 6th film, and we're
25
next year, which is weird.
Oh yeah.
It's so unique. Like, this is of the era of the MCU where the films were all felt visually extremely different from one another. Like this, I know people like to kind of point this out now, but it does kind of look like a TV episode, like just the way it's shot and
because
a lot of close-ups. It does feel like
it does feel that way, yeah. I mean, I don't think it looks cheap. I think its budget is definitely on screen, but
definitely.
Yeah, when people say it looks like a TV movie, I have to disagree. If I ever watch this on a big TV screen, I still feel like I'm in the cinema. But could that be just the way TV's changed? Because that's probably become more quote unquote cinematic.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it is weird now. Like this, I don't think it looks cheap at all. But I think just the way it's shot, like for one thing, the aspect ratio and the and just the entire way it's shot with a lot of close-ups, very centrally framed. Very TV.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't each episode of WandaVision have the same budget as the budget of this film?
I think I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they made 8 episodes of that?
8 or 9, I think. I can't remember, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Oh, that's such a cool shot. The reveal of Loki in this is just so good.
I mean, yeah, well, they've come out recently and said, Loki was under control of the Mind Stone the whole time. Like, no, I don't buy that. He's clearly doing it because, for one thing, his eyes are still the same colour, and he's clearly doing this of his own accord.
Definitely. Although, actually, it is worth pointing out, I've just noticed his eyes, they're like red around the edges. Not his actual eyeballs or pupils or anything, but like if you look at like his eyelids and stuff, they're really red. So I'm wondering if that's like a conscious decision.
Plus, also, when we get to For the Dark World, he doesn't really show any regret of doing anything he did in the Avengers, because his mother asks him, what about all the people you enslaved and killed? And he said, only a handful to what Odin has done. So, yeah, he's clearly not under control, just from all the actions he does in this and later films.
Yeah, no regret, no remorse, which is why, like, I don't believe you've seen it there yet. Could be wrong. The Loki TV series.
I've not seen it, no, but I do know it's basically a TV series where Loki didn't get any redemption arc, did he?
Mm-hmm. That's it. The main character of that series is 2012 Loki. So it's literally, obviously in Endgame we see him escape, but it's this version of Loki. And a bit of a problem with that show is it tries to say that Loki isn't all bad, and like this version of Loki is just misunderstood and he doesn't want to hurt people and things, but that goes directly against what we see in this. Like, he is an evil bastard in this.
Exactly. He stabs someone with his own spear with no regret or remorse. He enjoys every minute of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's why I find it hard when we get to Loki, like when the MCU gets there, and it's like, well, actually no, he never wanted to hurt people. And I'm just like, I mean, kind of does though. Like, it just is. Yeah, it's weird.
And yeah, there are 2 Infinity Stones technically in this film. Loki's scepter has the Mind Stone, and obviously the Tesseract is the Space Stone.
Yeah, which is and yeah, of course, when we get to Endgame, they're like, look, if we time this right, there are 3 stones in New York.
Shut the front door.
Shut the front door. It's cool.
I mean, funnily enough, just going to Doctor Who, when Graham Williams proposed the Key to Time season, the 6 segments, they were going to have their own names, and they weren't just going to be like random pieces of block that form a cube. They were going to have like powers like gravity, time, power, something like that. And yeah, we just got lost when it was brought to the TV screen, which was a shame.
That would have added a lot more agency to them beyond them just being like a MacGuffin.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Kevin Feige looked at that and thought, I've got an idea.
And I've got to say as well... sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, at this point in the MCU, Loki's probably the best villain.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, definitely.
I'd say up until 2017, the best villains we had were Loki and probably Ultron.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I never get why people don't like Ultron as a villain, because, you know, he wants to destroy humanity, but how he goes about it, I think, is great, and also he's got all those snarky one-liners.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, yeah, I like Ultron a lot in that film. We'll get to it, but I think that film is underrated, especially looking back on it now. Yeah, we will get there, obviously, but yeah, and you know, this film really is so cool seeing so many different characters from the previous 5 films all together. And I remember, because although this was the first one I saw in the cinema, I had seen all the films leading up to this, just on DVD or TV or whatever. And yeah, just I remember being in the cinema as a kid and going, oh, there's Maria Hill, there's Coulson, there's Nick Fury, and, I think is Sitwell in this? I can't remember, but he turns
might be,
and stuff, and it was just like, oh,
yeah, because yeah, the tone of this film is pitch perfect. It's basically the tone of a massive party.
Oh yeah, it's
a huge party. It's a celebration of all these characters coming together. I mean, not to compare Marvel and DC too much, but Batman v Superman had the atmosphere and tone of a funeral.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like someone had puked all over you and then forced you to sit down for 3 hours whilst they slowly cut at you.
I mean,
it's basically like that. You want Batman v Superman? I'm going to throw this bucket of puke on you and start cutting at you for 3 hours. Now sit there and enjoy it.
God, that went dark quite quickly.
Yeah, that's pretty much the tone of Batman v Superman.
Essentially.
And
I mean, we'll get it out of the way because somebody's bound to say it. Yes, ignoring what has come out about Joss Whedon since everything.
Oh yeah,
he was the perfect choice for this film at the time. Again, separating everything that we now know about what he's actually like. He had made up to this film. He had made a career out of shows which were team focused and had a big emphasis on teamwork, and he knew how to write big groups of characters that clashed and bantered and stuff. That was what he was known for. He was known for the banter, and that is. He was
great at writing larger-than-life characters. Absolutely. And it's a shame when he went to DC, he was a massive arsehole. Well, I mean, has there been any complaints from Marvel of what he's done or anything like that?
Not from Marvel that I know of, but obviously before this, the shows he worked on, multiple actors and actresses have come out saying that he was like that.
He was very abusive,
of course that was in the 90s and 2000s, so guy's always been a prick, unfortunately, which is a shame, because a few years ago I would have said that he was one of my favourite writers and directors ever, which is saddening. But despite that, and removing that from it, I think he was the perfect choice for this film, and just the way it's written, it is classic Joss Whedon. Just the way these characters talk is so him. For better or worse, but I think in this case definitely for better. Which I guess actually, him directing this, it does make sense why the direction feels a bit TV.
Because he did a lot of TV, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he'd done a few films, but he was a TV guy. He got his roots. On TV, he said himself he used Buffy was his own personal film school, so he was literally learning tricks of trade on that show, directing episodes, and you can see why this feels the way it does.
Some great deleted scenes as well. One that I really wish made the cut was the Captain America in New York, modern day New York, where he's walking around looking at Avengers Tower. The waitress says, "You waiting for him?" obviously referencing Tony Stark and saying, "Stay as long as you want. We've got free wireless." And he goes, "Radio?"
Yes.
And that's the original Stan Lee cameo where he says, "Ask her for your number, yeah."
Yeah, and that scene is like, I'm surprised it was cut because it's become quite a fan favorite scene. And even I think I picked up a few months ago a Stan Lee action figure, and it's based off his cameo appearance in this, and it's got him like with a cup of coffee and playing chess, which we see glimpses of later on, but like is in that deleted scene, and it's like this. Yeah, it's a great deleted scene.
Yeah, because the MCU, they brought Captain America into the present day perfectly. Definitely. And they didn't just make it all, fish out of water jokes like, ha ha ha, he doesn't get that, ha 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 ha, he's so old. They used it to challenge his ideals and change him because, I mean, I'm arguing this film, he was probably my least favourite Avenger because he was such a, goody two-shoes Boy Scout who would always just do the right thing, do whatever anyone would ever tell him, no matter what. Whereas Winter Soldier, that changes all that because he realises that the people he worked for are holding secrets, and
definitely
even his former best friend is now his enemy.
Yeah, it's a wonderful character progression across the entire MCU. Like what they do with Captain America is just sensational. It really is, and I'll say this: he was I think Chris Evans is the perfect choice for Buzz Lightyear in that. Oh yeah.
Is it a live action film or is it animated? The Lightyear film.
CGI animated, I think.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because I think he's a perfect choice for Buzz Lightyear.
And it makes sense because I know a lot of people are like, "Oh no, Buzz Lightyear's Tim Allen." It's like, well, this is like a fictional film that I think exists in the universe of Toy Story, right? Like it is a film that about the toy, not.
Heck, in Avengers Endgame and Toy Story 2, they both fight another version of themselves.
Yeah, they do. This as well. Obviously, they had a bit of a stumbling block because one of the leads of the films that they had been setting up and building up to dropped out, and they had to recast. Which big hurdle.
From what I've heard, did he demand that he write some of the script for the Avengers, Edward Norton, and Marvel didn't like that?
I think there was some of that, like he wanted more control than he had, and I think that led him to decide, no, I want to do more indie films, and more smaller films where I can be a bit more creative and challenge myself as an actor. I think that was his reason, and fair enough. He's since gone on to do a lot of Wes Anderson films and stuff like that, and yeah, so
he has, yeah.
But I really like him as Bruce Banner.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner is great because the great thing about his performance is that he almost mumbles his lines and kind of sounds like he's asleep, but it's not as if being an actor he's lazy. It's more like, I've got to stay calm, otherwise I'll turn into a big green monster.
And this is absolutely the best of him. I think. I don't think he's ever been better than in this film, because I think it's before they turned him into a comedy character, which I'm iffy on Hulk later on in the MCU. Like, I still like him, but I'm sort of like, I much prefer him here, where he has his funny moments, but you always kind of feel like he's on the edge of just exploding. Like, you genuinely get a sense of fear and anger from him.
Yeah, I mean, I really love what they do to him in Infinity War and Endgame, because Infinity War, it's just like, look, I'm trying, but he's not coming out. And Endgame, I think, is the perfect fit for his, perfect end for his character, because, he puts the brain and the brawn together. I just only wish it had an entire film dedicated to that, because, you could get an Incredible Hulk Blip film where Bruce Banner's like, you know what, I'm going to try and put the brain and brawn together, and then that sets up his appearance in Endgame.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, sorry, excuse me, the biggest problem I have with the Professor Hulk thing and the Smart Hulk is that they do it off screen, and I just wish we'd seen that, because that's like the conclusion of his character arc, and it's a shame that it's off screen, but I do like what they do to him. But yeah, in this like there just then where he shouts at her and she gets the like she's so terrified.
Yeah, exactly.
She's holding it together and putting on this act for this whole prelude to this, and as soon as he shouts, she just instantly grabs the gun, and it's like she is terrified, and
exactly.
Yeah, it is such a good way to reintroduce Hulk. Or Banner, rather.
And such a small detail I like when he's on the helicarrier. He sees those two guards and he just turns away like, nope.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
It does amaze me how long they... It takes about 45 minutes, I think, for 4 to show up.
Yeah, it does. It's surprising, isn't it? It is surprising. I remember in the cinema, actually, thinking that...
I think that was kind of the problem with 4. I think after they introduced him in his own film, they didn't know what to do with him much.
Yeah. Which they
because
later on.
Yeah, definitely. Ragnarok is 4's comedy. Infinity War is his tragedy.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It's basically like a Shakespeare comedy and tragedy. In the tragedy, he loses everything.
Definitely. And there's Jenny Agutter there as one of the council members. So obviously she's in the Winter Soldier, but like even just looking at this, it's quite a small role for an actor of her caliber.
Yeah, when they're going to have Steve meet an old Peggy Carter in this film, but then decided to save it for Winter Soldier.
I think was a Whedon idea. I think that did come from Joss.
Okay.
And of course, this was the post-credit scene of the first Avenger.
It was, yeah.
It's such a great scene. It is just like you said. It's the perfect. It's just the character introductions. I'm so effortlessly like this film effortlessly introduces us to all these characters, reintroduces us to them. Sorry, and it never feels rushed. It's just a perfect.
Yeah, because from what I've heard, that's what ironically, the Joss Whedon version of Justice League does, because if you're doing a team-up film, either introduce the main characters in their own film and then have them come together for a film, or be like Guardians of the Galaxy, where you have the plot, where you have the characters all separate, all introduced in one film, but the plot brings them together.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, the Whedon Justice League is interesting because the problem with that is, I don't doubt that he could have done it, but because it was mandated to be 2 hours, and he was coming in to lighten the tone of this thing, and he was hired to vandalize Zack Snyder's vision, is essentially what happened, and that's why that version of the film is such a mess. It's because he has to introduce all of these characters, and of course the great thing about this is he didn't have to worry about that too much because they already had films. He just had to put enough in there that a newbie could come in and get this and understand who these people are, which I think he absolutely succeeded at, because I think you could happily watch this without having seen the other films, and I think you could pick it up. I think you could absolutely be comfortable watching this because it's just a wonderful introduction to all of these characters.
Yeah.
Recaps the events of Incredible Hulk in dialogue. We just had a recap of Captain America: The First Avenger just now.
I love that cut. You should have left it in the ocean. Cut to Tony Stark in his Iron Man suit underwater.
Great cut, yeah, it's great. And of course, he was the fan favourite at this point. He was the big familiar face because he had 2 films before this. So
he was, yeah.
He was the big.
I mean, Robert Downey Jr., he's the prime example of, never too late to turn your life around, even if it goes down the gutter, because late 90s, early 2000s, he was in a dark place, in and out of rehab, prison. In fact, the line in the first Iron Man, where he says, "I've been in captivity for 3 months, I want an American cheeseburger." Yeah. Apparently that's what he said when he got out of rehab and was all clean. He said, "I want an American cheeseburger."
Nice, that is cool. I mean, so much of Tony's character is Robert Downey Jr.
Heck, that Simpsons musical, I'm Checking In, apparently that's based on him.
Oh, I don't. That does
and if you look at and if you look at the patient, he does look a lot like Robert Downey Jr. I'm checking in, he's checking in.
Yeah, no, it was such a big thing for him, wasn't it? This role, it just completely reignited his career.
Yeah, 2008 was his comeback year because he had Iron Man, Sherlock Holmes, I think, and Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, was Tropic Thunder 2008 or 2009? I think it was 2008.
Might have been 2008. Yeah,
I can't remember, but yeah, no, it was this big resurgence. They're doing a third Sherlock Holmes, aren't they?
I've heard they are. Yeah,
I don't know if Guy Ritchie's involved, but I know Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law are, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
With such a long gap after the last one. And yeah, just these Gwyneth Paltrow and Robert Downey Jr. just again more of their excellent chemistry. It is so natural.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah, because a lot of it's improvised.
It's the magic of Jon Favreau's Iron Man films is their chemistry because he let them improvise, and that even works its way into the third one as well. Yeah, I mean the third one is my favourite Iron Man film, which is that's probably controversial.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Iron Man 3 is so underrated. No one talks about it.
Yeah, it's my favourite Iron Man film. I think it's so good. I try and watch it every year, actually, because it's a Christmas film.
It is, technically, yeah. I mean, wasn't the Oscorp Tower going to appear in this? From Spider-Man?
Yes, it was that proposed thing between the Amazing Spider-Man and this, which was just like, yeah, I don't know, well,
because I think Iron Man 3, that was the last one to have any involvement with Paramount, I think.
Yeah, it was.
But now if you buy them all on Blu-ray, they're pretty much been Disneyfied in their Blu-ray artwork.
Yeah, they've all been caught under that banner, which is apart from the Spider-Man films, because of course
they're still Sony,
and the Incredible Hulk because Universal. But it's good that they license that Sony and Universal are happy to license those films out to be included in box sets and things.
And they're on Disney Plus, aren't they?
They're not. No, the Sony.
Oh, they're not.
No. The Sony Spider-Man films and the Incredible Hulk isn't on there. The Paramount films are, because that's fully Disney now. But
yeah, well, Kevin Feige has said that the Incredible Hulk is the only MCU film he doesn't like, and yeah, just seeing how the MCU has evolved now, it feels like the illegitimate son you've forgotten about.
It's the odd one out. It is definitely the odd one out. But I like that they've not attempted to decanonize it.
Yeah, they've not ignored it and say, it never happened, because Thunderbolt Ross appears in later films.
An episode of What If recently, there was this whole section which was a sequence from The Incredible Hulk. And it was instead of... the likeness they used for Bruce Banner was like a mix between Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo. So
nice.
Like you could see a little bit of Edward Norton in there, and it was kind of tipping its hat to that film, because obviously it was remaking a sequence from it. And even though it was Mark Ruffalo voicing him, they did.
Nice.
And it was nice. It's nice there that they have that the Hulk that they have on the screen there looks like the Ed Norton version.
Mm-hmm.
I watched you while you were sleeping.
That's not creepy at all.
And of course,
Oh yeah, because they established he designed Cap's suit for this, didn't they?
Yes, yeah.
Saying it's based on a classic. Like, I can't stand this suit in this one. He looks like a McDonald's toy.
Oh, Chris Evans hated the helmet, the hat.
Yeah, hence why it's taken off quite quickly.
Yeah, I like the suit. Like, I like the suit itself. The helmet is dodgy, I think.
The best suit for me is probably Age of Ultron, because you've got the red, white, and blue all represented perfectly.
Yeah, for me, it's either the Civil War suit or the which is basically the Age of Ultron suit.
But it is. I think darker. Like there's no white on the arms or anything like that.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's more dark blue than white, and yeah, that's the difference between the two.
And also, I really like the chainmail-esque version from Endgame, where it looks like the chainmail.
That's perfect. Yeah,
that's wonderful. And this is this guy playing the is Thanos in this scene? Do we see a little glimpse of him, or is that?
I don't know. I'm sure it's just at the post-credit scene where we see him.
That's true. Yeah.
The only time he's not played by Josh Brolin.
No, yeah. Is it fully CG?
I think so. Yeah.
It's fully CG, isn't it?
Plus, he's a completely different color. He looks maroon in the post-credit scene, whereas Guardians onwards, he's more or less purple.
And I believe this guy, the other, is played by Alexis Denisov, who was a heavy collaborator with Joss Whedon. So,
okay.
You would not know it was him because he's under a shit ton of makeup and his voice is all distorted. So, but yeah, yeah, no, I remember seeing that post-credit scene actually, in the cinema, and my mind was blown as a kid because I had seen Thanos in like cartoons and things, and bits of comics that I'd read, and it was just like, I know who that guy is, and then never did I imagine that, nearly.
Is he like the ultimate villain in Marvel Comics?
He's a big villain. He's not. Yeah, he could be described as the ultimate villain. Then again,
because some have said it's the big villain that they all should come together for is Galactus.
Galactus is,
or something like that.
Galactus. A lot of people say Galactus as well, which makes sense because he's a giant planet-eating motherfucker.
Wow.
Essentially, his deal is he eats planets.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and he has been in a film. He was in the second Fantastic Four film, but instead of a giant man in a purple suit, it was a space cloud, which was pissed off a lot of the fans.
Well, it's better than Fant Four Sticks Doctor Doom, where he looked like a crash test dummy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I've said it before. And obviously I think the direction of the MCU now is multiverse. But I said when Endgame ended, I said the next big bad of the MCU should be Doctor Doom.
Yeah, because that could be good. Yeah,
that would be, because he's yet to be done justice on film properly, and he is a nasty piece of work. Yeah, it'd be. I can't wait to see the MCU do Doctor Doom, because I know they'll probably do it right.
I do like that exchange between Steve Rogers and Bruce Banner, because I think he says, they tell me you can find the cube. They told you anything else about me? And I think he says, like, something like, that doesn't matter.
The only thing I care about, sir. It's classic Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, you can find the cube, but you being a big green monster, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because Winter Soldier, that turned Cap from my least favourite Avenger to probably my favourite.
Really, yeah, no, it's. I mean, Cap's kind of he's my boy. Like, he's my favorite, I think. He
Yeah.
used to be Iron Man when I was a kid.
Yeah, because I think as a kid you are drawn to Iron Man because you want to be him. He's got all the gadgets, the money, the power,
Yeah,
the cars,
and of course
yeah.
he started the whole. He started this whole thing. I remember it coming out in 2008, and I didn't see it in cinemas in 2008. I got the DVD, and I watched it as a wee lad, and kind of just grew up with this whole thing. So he definitely, Iron Man always has a special place in my heart, just because he was the father of all this, essentially.
Yep.
It's so much fun, this film, and
It is, yeah. It's a massive party. It's like a Doctor Who story, like The Five Doctors or The Stolen Earth and Journey's End, where, you know, it's not the best written, but, you know, it's just a lot of fun. It takes you on an adventure, and you completely go with it.
Definitely. And I you say that, I would argue that there's great bits of writing in this. I think it's quite overlooked.
Definitely.
I honestly think it is overlooked and underrated these days. It's often dwarfed now by,
I mean,
Endgame,
until Endgame came out, this was my favourite MCU film. Nothing had topped it, mainly because it was for me. It's a very tightly written film where there's nothing really left lingering or nothing that I can really pick apart. Whereas Age of Ultron, it's probably trying more than its predecessor, and while it does sag under its own weight and buckle sometimes, it is still an entertaining film.
Oh, definitely. I mean, for me, I think this is still my favourite MCU film. I think top 3 for me are this, Civil War, and Endgame.
Yeah, that's my top 3 as well.
And I think... Oh, is it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then...
But I'd say this about Infinity War and Endgame. As much as I love those two films, I'd argue that out of all the films in the MCU, they're the least accessible. If I was going to get someone into the MCU, I probably wouldn't start with those two because, you know, Infinity War, it never stops it goes from one thing to another very quickly. It never stops for a breather. But the thing is, we've had 17, 18 films prior to that where the characters have had chance to breathe and develop, whereas here it's the war to end all wars.
Well, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Infinity War makes no sense. It doesn't work at all, and it makes no sense if you've not seen any of the other films. It's like, well, why would you start a TV show with the season finale? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't start a TV show on the season finale.
Lee Winnell, who created the Saw franchise, and he wrote like the first 3 Saw films. He said, "Why would you go into?" Yeah, exactly. He said, "Why would you go into Saw 3 not having seen Saw 1 and 2?"
Exactly. It's just sort of like, well. I mean, a lot of that conversation has come up again recently because of No Time to Die. Because I had a lot of people asking me, like, oh, I haven't really seen any other James Bond films, but everyone's talking about it and it's a big thing, you know, do I need to see the others? And I was like, ordinarily no, but I think you'd be a bit lost if you hadn't seen the other Craig films, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, without giving too much away about No Time to Die, all his 5 films now seem to form a story, because you've got Casino, Royale and Quantum. I'd argue that's his beginning. Skyfall and Spectre, that's the middle. No Time to Die, and because it's a longer film, that's his ending.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were flaws along the way, but I was happy in the end with the story that it told. I thought it kind of it all kind of, it was more.
Plus, I'm glad Daniel Craig was made an honorary commander of the Royal Navy.
Yes, that was so cool. That was really cool. Yeah. This scene is dripping with atmosphere. I love the classical music and it's really gnarly, like the eye thing.
Yeah,
It's
this
really
does he
violent.
stab his eye out, or
He drills it. He essentially, if you listen to the noise, it's like a drill.
ow?
Oh, it's really grim. Actually, the UK version of this film that we're watching is actually censored a bit later on.
Okay.
Coulson's death, for the Blu-ray, they digitally removed the spear for the UK Blu-ray, which is a bit. I'm just like, well, you passed it for UK cinemas, but suddenly when it's on Blu-ray, it's this big thing that you need to remove.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay. Because I know a lot of people, when this came to Blu-ray, there was quite a big controversy because the commentary wasn't on our version either. So a lot of people just...
Oh, but was it on the US version?
Yeah, the US version had a lot of extras that we didn't, and of course, we got a censored version, so I know a lot of people imported the American Blu-ray.
I mean, my Blu-ray of this film, it's a two-disc version because it's got the 90-minute documentary building a cinematic universe on its own disc. I found it in CEX about 5 or 6 years ago.
Nice. I always wanted that version. Mine is just the single disc version.
Yeah, I mean, also the cover is completely different as well from the single disc one, and I wonder. I think that documentary might be on like the Phase 1 box set because
probably
each box set has its own bonus disc.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to know what the content is of that, because if it's anything like, say, the Star Wars sequel trilogy documentaries, I'd very much like to see that.
Same.
You know, an hour or 90-minute documentary on each film would be amazing.
It would be so cool, yeah. I don't think it would be anything substantial, unfortunately, with how Disney are these days.
Yeah.
Even the sequel, like the Rise of Skywalker one, wasn't quite as raw as the other two.
Yeah, because it did seem to talk more about the previous 8 films than it did its own.
Oh, that's a brilliant moment. There are always men like you. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
This whole scene is just... And of course, because Alan Silvestri is doing the music for this, we get hints of Captain America's theme in there from the first Avenger. Yeah, poor Chris Evans. He does look uncomfortable in that mask.
Yeah, it looks like he's crammed into it. Looks like it's a little bit too tight for him.
Yeah.
Also, it did nothing for his ass.
What you on about? As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass. And they improved it in Endgame, I think, didn't they, when he put it on again? Like, it was the same thing, but it just looked like it was better fitted to him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's such a cool moment with AC/DC.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Plus, also, I do like how Tony in this film learns to respect Steve, because...
Yeah.
Would you say... meeting here, there's a bit of jealousy, because did Howard Stark probably spend more time with Steve Rogers than he did his own son?
Well, that's what's so wonderful about their relationship. It's just the kind of, there's this tension beneath the surface that and it all stems from, you know, like in Civil War. There's a line about it, isn't there? Like Steve's like, oh, when I knew him, before he was married and stuff, and kind of Tony snaps and he goes, oh, really? You knew him? Like, yeah, you never mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like there is this underlying resentment, which is wonderfully written.
Yeah. And obviously mocks him for being basically a 90-year-old man.
Yeah.
And, yeah, this is, just checking the time, 43 minutes in, and only now we're getting 4.
Oh, yeah, 43 minutes. It whips along, this film, doesn't it? It's such a...
It does, yeah.
Such a pace to it. It's longer than I thought, actually. Like, in my mind, it's like 2 hours, but it's 2 hours 22. and it doesn't feel like it at all. It just
definitely not.
It's paced so well.
Mm-hmm. And coming up here, that small line of that small exchange. Stark, we need a plan of attack. I have a plan. Attack. It just shows the difference between the two.
Exactly.
Tony Stark would go in all guns blazing, whereas Steve Rogers would ask questions first, form a strategy, then attack.
Yeah.
It's what's so great about Infinity War. When they're split up, they needed each other the most, because Cap needed a tech genius with vision to separate him from the Mind Stone, and Tony Stark needed a military strategist to help fight Thanos.
Yeah.
And they both lost because of it.
Exactly. It's brilliant.
And people tell me Civil War had no consequences in the MCU.
Yeah, that's a weird complaint, isn't it?
Yeah. There's that joke Honest Trailers made about Thor. You know, looking at Healer and Loki, and looking at Anthony Hopkins when he was a young man, we sure Thor wasn't the one who was adopted? Because he's the only... If you look at Healer, she's got black hair like Loki, and Anthony Hopkins had darker hair when he was younger, so... Yeah. Are we sure Thor's not the one who's adopted?
So it's funny, Thor, you know, he says, do I look to be in a gaming mood?
Yeah, I love that line.
Cut to Endgame, where he's addicted to Fortnite.
Oh god, yeah.
And I like, this is still Shakespeare Thor, like where he talks.
It is, yeah.
Talks like,
in my youth, I courted war.
Yeah, exactly.
My people want nothing but peace with you.
His dialect is.
Do language. I look to be in a gaming mood?
You know, the way he speaks is so Shakespearean and old fashioned, and I love that progression over the course of the MCU. Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, Infinity War, despite being a comic book film, it does have the hallmarks of a Shakespeare tragedy.
Yeah.
Everyone ends up dead or in failure by the end.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. He says, you come home. It's almost like he's about to cry, just like saying, just come home, we can stop this now.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, just from their performances alone, I buy that these two are brothers.
They're brilliant. They are so brilliant.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that Tom Hiddleston did audition for Thor. And
he did, yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, like, you can't imagine anyone else playing Thor but Chris Hemsworth.
Not at all.
God, how close is his face to the mask? Looks like he's crammed into that thing. Also, I love this here. It comes back in Endgame because Thor shoots the lightning at him and it powers up his suit. He's like, how about that? And uses it to fight against Thor in this. And then they do it again, I think, with Stormbreaker in Endgame, and they use it to fight Thanos.
Yeah. And it's not really drawn attention to in that.
Yeah, it allows you to connect the dots yourself.
Yes, it's not like they turn to the camera and go, hey, remember when we did this 10 years ago or whatever. Also, you know, I think people forget this is kind of the first MCU comedy. This is the first time, I think, really, that the comedy has been such a key aspect to this. And yeah, like, for the Iron Man films, could make an argument there, but I think this is the first time where huge sections of this film are just hilarious. Like, just, I remember in the cinema, just the laughter was.
Oh yeah, despite Infinity War being a dark film and Endgame, the laughter was there a lot.
And this is, I know, you know, when we were doing our Far From Home commentary, we criticize a lot of humor in that as being forced and unnatural. This
but here it is very natural.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Far From Home feels like it's trying to do the Avengers comedy without kind of understanding how the comedy comes from these characters and how natural they are, and how wonderfully written they are, and how they play off each other. And
I'd say this and Star Wars: A New Hope, they're probably the best ways of how to do comedy and drama in a film. The comedy comes from the interactions between the characters and basically how absurd the entire situation is.
Exactly. So quotable.
This does feel a bit off to me. He's just met Captain America and he's like, right, I'm just going to kill this guy with my hammer. I mean, he had no idea that was going to work.
Well, I think it's just
he had no idea that would happen.
Yeah, I don't know if he really expects to kill him. I think it's just I think it's just the electricity reacting with the vibranium.
Ah, okay.
Which is why it's such a massive. It's so good. It's so like.
The character interactions are just on point.
It's pure entertainment. It really is.
God,
there's another film in 2012 wherein the villain gets captured, and he wants to be captured because this was all planned, and he needs to execute his elaborate plan of escape, just like Skyfall.
Oh yeah. I love that little touch there of Bruce Banner seeing Loki and just kind of putting his head down, looking away. It's almost like, don't get angry.
Yeah. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury as well. This casting was, years in the making, because when they rebooted the Marvel Universe with the Ultimate Comics, and they had that kind of spin-off series, Nick Fury was black in that, and they decided to draw him and modelled him after Samuel L. Jackson as a reference point. And of course, this was years before the MCU, and we've got to cast him. Why not get the guy who inspired, who physically inspired the comic, one of the comic book versions of him? Because I think people forget that Nick Fury was white for many years.
He was, yeah. I mean, they should have done this in Far From Home. Have Nick Fury say, "You're on this team, but we do not grant you the rank of Avenger." What? How can you be on the team and not be an Avenger? Take a seat, young Parker. Oh yeah, I just realised Winter Soldier. Steve Rogers writes down Star Wars, Star Trek.
Yeah, yes. Does, yeah.
That's going to be awkward when he gets to the prequels. Why does my boss look like Mace Windu?
In the UK version of that, didn't he write down like Sherlock, World Cup '66, and things like that?
I think so. Yeah,
they
he wrote Star Wars, Star Trek, Stephen Hawking. I think the moon landing. Yeah. Should have written down Doctor Who.
Yes. This is very Joss Whedon. That whole thing of he really grows on you, doesn't he? That's pure Whedon.
Yeah.
That is so Joss Whedon.
And I've said this before, but Thor's like that dreadlocks guy from In-Betweeners 2. I'm not going to lose. I can't lose. Yeah, because I love in Thor Ragnarok, he's still got that ego where, those fans say, "Sorry to hear that Jane dumped you." "Shouldn't dump me. I dumped her." Yeah, of course.
This got a big laugh in the cinema. He's adopted.
He's adopted.
That was probably the biggest laugh in the cinema. I remember the whole audience just erupted. I think because it's so quick, everyone was just caught off guard, and biggest laugh of the film, I think.
Yeah, and we're in phase 1. This is Tony Stark, probably at his most egotistical.
Yes.
He's pretty much taking jabs at everyone, apart from probably Bruce Banner, who he can respect on a genius level, because they're both men of science. Whereas we just made a joke about Nick Fury's eye. He put his hand over his eye. Like, how does Fury even see? Like,
he turns.
That's a bit ableist.
A little bit.
But the end of this film and in phase 2, he's pretty much in his PTSD phase, what I like to call it, because it's this film that changes him, where he realises how small he is compared to the rest of the universe.
Yeah, and then that completely reverberates right up until he dies, really.
Yeah.
I would say spoilers for Endgame now, but I'm not going to lie. If you don't know that Tony Stark dies in that film, where have you been for the last 2 years?
Yeah, plus we're gonna cover it eventually, so...
Yeah. I love that as well. Finally, somebody who speaks English. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and he's the first fellow Avenger who he shakes hands with.
Yes,
as if to say, you have my respect. He's like, yes, someone who speaks English.
Yeah. The dialogue is so well written. It really is. The way these people interact. I honestly don't think we've come close to this since Endgame did come close. But this is, in terms of just getting these people together and just the thrill of watching them interact. It's absolutely incredible. I love the Gallagher guy. The Gallagher guy.
I thought he was playing Space Invaders there.
Yeah.
From Space Invaders in 1977. Ah, yeah, that was a pretty addictive video game. Video game? Oh yeah, that's a fun fact. Speaking of The Simpsons, wasn't Tony's original AI or butler called Homer?
Homer, yeah.
Yeah, it stood for... Because in the comics, Jarvis was a real-life butler, wasn't he? But they did get criticism for being too much like Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yes.
So he was changed to an AI in later versions, wasn't he?
Yeah, it makes me laugh. Just you saying that reminded me of Lego Batman. Password, Iron Man sucks. But yeah, no, it was...
Well, they used that joke in Iron Man 3, War Machine rocks, with an X.
Yes.
Heck, I'm surprised War Machine isn't in this as a cameo.
I'm shocked about that, yeah. I mean, that does get amended by Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Iron Man 3 is the only time in the MCU you see Rhodey in his Iron Patriot suit.
Yes, it
the rest of the time he's just in the War Machine suit.
I think we've spoken about this before, but in the comics, Norman Osborn was Iron Patriot for a long time.
Yeah, I've heard that, and it does make me laugh in the first Iron Man film. Terrence Howard as Rhodey sees the silver suit. Next time, baby. Well, we know that's not true.
And then, of course, the perfect introduction to Don Cheadle in Iron Man 2. Look, I'm here. It's me. Deal with it. And he just moves on. It's like, fair enough.
Yeah, again, it shows the great contrast between Tony and Steve. He says, Steve is, we have orders, we follow them.
Yeah.
Whereas Tony is like, nah, I'm just going to dig deep into S.H.I.E.L.D. and dig up dirt on them.
Yeah.
Where if you go to Civil War, the roles would probably be reversed. Tony Stark would probably follow the rules because of everything he's gone through, whereas Steve would be questioning everything about S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, which is...
As he does with the Accords, he starts questioning them, saying, agendas change, people change.
Yeah, which is why it's so... That is... Civil War is such an incredible use of the shared universe idea.
It is, yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, but it's out of character, the role should be reversed, and I'm like, well, you've not really been paying attention, because these characters have changed
Civil
so
War
much.
and Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron, they're probably the big game changer films for Tony Stark and Steve Rogers.
Definitely.
Yeah, I just realised he's not had that metal heart inside him since Iron Man 3.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that, yeah.
Yeah, the whole shrapnel thing was just cured. I mean, doesn't make you wonder, why didn't he just do that before?
Yeah.
If he could easily get an operation for it.
I think it's just, in Iron Man 3, it's just the whole fact that he's making a direct effort to move on from it, which of course Iron Man 3 ends with him destroying all of his suits and throwing it all into the ocean. Next time we see him in Age of Ultron, he's got 1 million suits again, which is yeah.
It does amaze me how little Clint Barton has to do in this film. He's literally mind control for the first 2/3, and that's what I do like about Age of Ultron. They do give him more of a backstory.
Yeah, because that was a huge criticism of this when it came out.
Yeah, he didn't do anything really. He just had a bow and arrow.
Whereas now, I think it's kind of a fan favourite. He's kind of a fan favourite.
Yeah, I'd argue by Age of Ultron, he's probably the heart and soul of the film.
Yeah, I mean, you get to Civil War and people cheer when he comes on screen in that, because it's like, yes, Clint's getting involved. And it's like, who'd have thought that would happen?
I wonder, are they going to bring back Dr. Eric Selvig in Thor Love and Thunder?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, well, wouldn't surprise me.
Last time we've seen him is Age of Ultron, but I think in Endgame they confirmed that he was affected by the snap.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah, no, it's I mean, they've brought back Darcy now in WandaVision, so she's still.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's quite a prominent character in it.
Wow.
and they reveal in that she's now Dr. Darcy Lewis. So she went on to complete her doctorate. So yeah, and I think she is in Love and Thunder. So it wouldn't surprise me if they bring him back to kind of reunite that old crew.
I know they're not bringing back Loki because obviously that timeline follows Infinity War where he's dead.
Yeah, well, they're doing a second season of the Loki show. It's the only MCU TV show, the Disney Plus, that they're doing a second season of. And
nice.
I think he's going to pop up in Doctor Strange. It does depend, because the way that ended is kind of kicked the door down for Doctor Strange, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that as well. Why is he the only person on this boat that wants to be here? Such a great line. Also, I know a lot of people say this, but it is true. This is like this generation's Star Wars, I think, in terms of
just, definitely.
This is so it's able to reduce any adult into a 12-year-old again, I think.
Yeah, so many kids now, they talk about how their heroes are Iron Man and Captain America. I mean, I know this was a decade ago, but I'd say 15 years ago, you said Iron Man or Captain America, they would have been like, who?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they were known, but they were obscure. They were extremely obscure. They're like I'm trying to think of a comparison now, really. They were, I think, like maybe Green Lantern is now, where the public kind of, you say Green Lantern, the general public maybe can tell you what he is, but he's quite obscure.
You can tell how well known something is if it gets zero and pointless. The TV game show.
Yeah. That's a good point.
2008. Name a Marvel superhero. 4. Let's see if you're right. Oh, you got 0. No one knows who he is. There was a Doctor Who Pointless special, I remember.
Yes, there was. Yeah. How long ago was that now? That was...
I'm sure it was like around about the time of the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember Nicola Bryant tweeted about it saying, my partner for Pointless is Andrew Hayden Smith. I would have had Colin, but he was in the jungle at the time. So it must have been like November 2012 when they filmed it.
It's kind of interesting watching this now after having seen Black Widow and kind of it delving into Natasha's backstory a bit more. Mm-hmm. Especially this conversation with her and Loki.
Mm-hmm.
And she's so good here. Like especially when he goes on this is a family film, and Loki calls her a mewling quim. That line is in a family film. And I'm pretty sure this is shown on like Christmas Day quite regularly on BBC One. And it's like...
Yeah, they do that a lot. They do show MCU films around about Christmas time because, I mean, ITV, they always show the Harry Potter films around about Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Well, they seem to have like a rotation of either the Harry Potter films or the Daniel Craig Bond films.
Yeah, because suppose with Harry Potter around about Christmas, it's because... Well, every Harry Potter film has at least one Christmas scene in it, so that counts.
And funnily enough, I know a lot of people consider the Harry Potter films Halloween films.
But there's only one... The first film is the only one where they explicitly say this takes place on Halloween.
Yeah. I guess it's just because witches. But, I mean, there's a thing, isn't it? Like...
Mm-hmm.
What is Phase 2? Well, Phase 2 is Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World and Captain America the Winter
Phase 2 is sequels. Lots of sequels. Yeah, here they're all affected by the Mind Stone, aren't they? But it's not... Again, it's not shoved in your face. It's just visually shown to you when the camera tilts upside down to the scepter.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's one of those scenes where everyone is right. Everyone has their own understandable viewpoint.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I love how the camera just slowly tilts round to everyone when they're speaking. It's It's a great way to do dialogue.
It's a brilliant bit of direction there as well, because I think a lazier director would have gone, okay, we need that's a line from Cap there where he says a higher form. Let's do let's do an angle on Chris. But no, they move the camera around so that we need to get from there to Tony. Let's not have loads of cuts. Let's just move the camera around slowly enough where you can see him do the line, and then we're on to Tony's line. And it's just this efficient. Yeah. It's efficient and it's stylish, and it's great. It's a wonderful bit of filmmaking.
I mean, what they need now, because it's on a helicarrier, is Loki to come in on the bridge and start dancing to I Can't Decide.
Yeah.
His plan is to grab his scepter and go, "Here come the drums!"
Yes. It's weird, because if you look, it looks like he's got a hood. It looks like he's wearing a hoodie. And it's like they imply that is just the hood, but obviously when we see the helmet on, it's a full-on helmet. But it's kind of, it makes me laugh because it's like that cartoon comic book logic. Somebody said recently that Tony's goatee in this film looks like the Black Widow logo, and now I can't unsee it.
It does a bit.
The bottom part of
Plus, I love that line. You let the wire crawl over you. I think I would just cut the wire.
Yes. It's so good. Oh. And of course, you know, they both prove each other wrong. You know, he says everything special about you came out of a bottle. Cap proves that not really. He was always a good person at heart.
A good person underneath. The serum was just a bonus.
Exactly, yeah. And of course, Tony proves as well that he is more than that suit of armor.
He's more than just a genius billionaire playboy philanthropist who will do the right thing.
I do love that bit though. Just that small little cut to Widow. Just like,
Now that line there, you know, I tried to end it and the other guy spat it out. That is a deleted scene from The Incredible Hulk, isn't it?
And in that deleted scene you can see Captain America in the ice.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen that scene in ages, but I need to look for that again.
Yeah, if you go frame by frame, when the big avalanche happens at the end, you can just see a little glimpse of the shield.
Yeah, because the serum that they use on Cap is used in that film, and I think the first Avenger argues that the serum can enhance your positive traits, but it can also enhance your negative traits as well, hence why Emil Blonsky becomes the Abomination and Bruce Banner becomes the Hulk.
Good becomes great, bad becomes worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's and coming back to that line again, I think this is why this portrayal of the Hulk is my favourite we've ever had on film. Just that line is so morbid there. The put a bullet in my mouth and the other guy spat it out.
Yeah.
And it's so well done, it really is. And I do kind of wish we could get a bit back to that in the...
Plus the line, you know, I'm always angry. It basically says, I'm always angry, but I just need to express it at the right time.
Yes.
Plus I like how, I think it's even Nick Fury or Maria Hill who says, we need to get this place over water. We can't let it hit a populated area.
Yeah.
No. What you need to do, you need to go up into space and get the Chitauri to chase you to a populated area. Batman v Superman.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
The spear's back in Gotham. I gotta get to chase me. Master Bruce, can't you just get the spear and then come back to this abandoned island? No. But weren't you angry at Superman for doing the same thing? Yes, but I'm Batman.
Careful. You can't be saying that. We'll get someone in the comments telling us how we can't critique that film because we haven't read the comics.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
If you're watching,
two British guys who don't know.
Yeah, two Brits.
To quote Civil War, a film you probably hate as well because it's a film based on a comic, shock horror. You're after the wrong guy.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, by the way, because I responded to him saying, well, actually, I've been reading Spider-Man comics since I was quite young, and I've got a pretty decent knowledge of the comic lore, and he was like, oh, but you don't address any of these points, and I was like, yes, we do. Did you listen to the commentary?
Yeah, we do.
I address all of these points. He was like, you never address this, you don't care. And I was like, I did, though. It's just... God,
it's like the Not My Doctor crowd. The show is failing, merchandise sales are down. People provide evidence to say that's not true. That's not evidence!
Yeah, exactly. That little glimpse of sadness in Hulk's eyes there.
Oh yeah, you're alive. I love the dark shadows here. It's almost like something out of a horror film.
Yeah, and I think Hulk is perfect size in this as well, because he was massive in the Ang Lee film. Like he's nearly the size of a fucking skyscraper in that film. He's a bit smaller.
I'd argue here he's also
Hulk, and here he's the perfect size.
Plus, he's the right colour, I'd say, because in the Incredible Hulk, he's kind of like lime green. Yeah. Here, it's more starburst green.
God, I love the score. It's so good.
Yeah, Alan Silvestri's score is just top notch. Because did he do Infinity War? Because I know he did Endgame.
Yeah, he did Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah, I think.
It makes sense because they were pretty much the same film, just separated. Yeah,
the only one he didn't do was Age of Ultron, which was Danny Elfman and Brian Tyler.
Oh god! I remember when that came out, and it coincided with Spider-Man being announced that he's joining the MCU, and people saying, "Oh, Danny Elfman's the composer. What if that means there's a Spider-Man cameo?" Just like it wouldn't mean that at all.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it was. I like that.
I mean, what if Christopher Nolan visited the set of The Batman? Does that mean he's back directing Batman?
I like the Elfman score though, because it kind of pays homage to this one as well. Like, it still has the theme, which is nice. I remember for a while it looked like Brian Tyler was just going to become the composer of the MCU, because he did Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World. He contributed to Age of Ultron. I remember a lot of people thinking, oh, is he just the de facto composer now?
Might be, yeah.
I like Thor. Thor is like really shocked when he looks at the Hulk there. It's like, what did you expect? When you crashed into him, what did you expect you were crashing into? Like, he's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but his attitude's like, I'm not going to lose. I can't lose. I don't lose.
That's great as well. We're not your enemies, Banner. Try to think.
Whack. I don't know if we passed it, but I do like that line. It seems to run on some form of electricity. Oh, he's almost right.
See, that's what I mean. That's humour. That's funny because it comes from the characters, but it doesn't disrupt any moments. Whereas I feel like, not to keep digging at Far From Home, but like I feel like if this were that film, they'd stop the entire action sequence to, like, I don't know, show Captain America watching a YouTube tutorial of how to fix it.
Oh, God.
Something like that, And it just... But as it is, it's funny.
Or Tony Stark saying, it's thin and skimpy like Aunt May.
Oh, fucking yes! Probably. Oh, such a cool... Again, it just takes me back to being a kid. Just that slow motion shot of Thor just whacking the Hulk with Mjolnir is just so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love how he tries to pick it up so much. His feet dig into the ground.
So cool.
Yeah.
It brings back a lot
I remember
of
someone
memories.
made a meme. I was just gonna say, someone made a meme about worst thing Thor has ever done, and that's put like Mjolnir on a toilet seat, meaning it's always down.
Yeah. I like how calm Coulson is as well.
Yeah. Well, don't they bring him back in Agents of Shield or something like that?
The whole thing in Agents of Shield is like he died, and then there's this really gnarly bit where they're like doing surgery on his brain, and they bring him back, and he's yeah, it's this whole thing in the first season. Every time somebody says the word Tahiti, he goes, "Oh, it's a magical place," and it's like it's kind of like Bad Wolf. It's just dropped every now and then through the season, and there's just a point later on, somebody says it, and he goes, "It's a magical," and he kind of catches himself, and I can't remember like what the resolution to that was, because I haven't seen the show in a long time, but yeah, it was a really cool thing. Agents of Shield was odd. It's an odd show.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Target angry.
And he catches the pilot in midair as well.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. This whole action sequence is just...
It certainly is, yeah.
Incredible. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to be having fun watching a film, because for the last couple of days I've just been watching shit Halloween sequels, and it's just nice to watch a good film, to kind of palate cleanser.
Yeah, I'm just reading that comment that we got on our Far From Home commentary.
Old Darth.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll eventually get around to giving your commentary one more try, seeing as how the other one I found was just so god-awful.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the other one?
What was he on about? Like, he just went on this random rant about some guy called the Ponderer, and I was just like, who the fuck are you?
I mean, yeah, I do think it does have a point saying the biggest problem with your commentary is the sound quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. It's not perfect, I'll admit that, yeah. Because we're not in the same room.
That's how it is.
Plus the fact that you don't seem to care about the most drastic changes that have been made to the story in comparison to the source material. In fact, if you listen to our Far From Home commentary,
That's literally what we talk about.
We do seem to... Aunt May was never even portrayed as a MILF. I mean, yeah, we did take issue with that, apparently.
I mean,
Mary Jane was never portrayed as a super scrawny, pissed-off, morbid Latina black girl.
Yeah,
what?
I read that,
but that's,
and I just thought, because you'll notice I responded, and then he wrote back with that, and as soon as I got to that point, I was just like, I'm not going to bother responding. This is just...
Yeah, just blow a whistle, red card.
It's very strange.
I'm sure you probably hate it, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, despite the fact that technically speaking it is the most comic book accurate. Did you ever read the Spider-Man issue where he finally confessed to Aunt May about being Spider-Man? Have you?
I've not read that specific issue, no, but I mean it's just this whole thing where it's like, have you read every single one of the millions of comics out there? It's like, no.
Yeah, just because I haven't read the comics, it doesn't mean I can't form my own opinions on a film. They're two completely different mediums. And
it's one of those things that...
It'd be like saying you can't enjoy, I don't know, the Harry Potter films if you haven't read the books.
It's one of those things that when I told him that I have read the comics, he was like, oh, really? Well, what about this, this, and this, and this, and this, to kind of test me. And I was just like, I'm alright. I don't need to respond. But
well, that's the most comments we've got on a commentary video.
I mean, fair play. Like, appreciate the criticism about the quality, because these commentaries aren't perfect, and
yeah, exactly.
I realise that. But I mean, if you haven't listened to the whole thing, it's probably best not to actually critique the content of it. Yeah.
Well, I remember on one of my videos, one of them's got a comment saying your comment about people not liking it because of a made-up white man agenda is completely wrong. Then he proceeded to say Joe Martin's casting was a completely PC agenda-driven decision. Well, you just proved my point there, so thanks.
People are weird, man.
Fucking idiots.
People are weird.
I know. I mean, seeing as how we're going to eventually get to Endgame, I wonder if we'll see Darth again.
Oh yeah, he didn't like Endgame, did he?
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah, because it wasn't like the comics. It's so frustrating to hear two Brits who have no clue of what they're on about. Also, why does the fact that we're British have anything to do with that?
No, it's weird. Isn't it? It's like a few years ago, Chris Johnson on Twitter was like, he didn't like the trailer for Justice League, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but this doesn't look very good." And they had this guy, he had this guy in the replies going, "Oh, yet again, somebody who doesn't read the comics, doesn't read the comics, criticizing something they don't know about." And Chris replied with a photo of him with his massive shelf of comic books, and he was just like, "You what, mate?" and the guy responded with, "Oh, okay, so you have read the comics, but you think you know better than everyone." And it was just like, no, like, what are you on about? I remember in my top 5 10th Doctor stories video, I would often, say what each Doctor's personality was, and I said, the 10th Doctor was one of the more human incarnations. And then I had a comment saying, you have clearly never seen the classic series. Everybody knows the 5th Doctor was the most human. Yeah. I just responded with my Doctor Who DVD collection. Yeah.
I just said, yes, I'm clearly not a classic Who fan. You completely stumped me there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. I don't know. It's just you get people who
YouTube comment sections can sometimes just be the worst.
Yeah, you do get people who are like, they want to show how much of a fan they are in comparison to you. They're like, "Oh, I'm more qualified because of this, this, and this, and this." It's like, it's not a competition. It's
They're the Victor Kennedy / Absorberlofts of fandoms.
Yes, they literally are.
You're having a good time and you get that one prick who comes in and ruins everything.
Literally are. Literally are.
Literally says, "Lights, I am your salvation."
Yeah. No, it is frustrating, and it's that whole thing where it's like, and you get it. It's not just like geek culture. You get it in bands as well. That whole thing where somebody's been a fan of a band when they were small, and then they get big, and everyone's like, "Well, I liked it before they were cool. Have you listened to all of their albums front to back?" And I'm like, "No." "Well, so you're not a fan?" And I was like, "No, I just like some of their music." It's just like,
I mean, it's like what Milhouse says on The Simpsons about Bart's dog. I knew the dog before he came to class.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want, a fucking medal?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we shouldn't have to say it, but I think it goes like saying, if you like something, you are a fan of something.
Exactly.
You don't have to be an expert in it, but if you like it, you're a fan of it.
Yeah.
And that's totally fair enough. And I just, it's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
It is annoying because and you see it in Doctor Who as well. Like, Have you watched every story of the classic series? No. I mean,
then you're not a
you're
fan.
not a fan. You've only watched the new series. Yeah, but I kind of want to check out the classic. Well, you're not a fan, and it's just like, well.
I mean, I've seen that type of gatekeeping happen, obviously a lot online, but thankfully, I've never seen it happen in real life. Conventions I've been to, all the fans have been really nice and just accepting of other people's opinions. Yeah. Because I know some not my doctors out there think that they can't accept people who like the Chibnall era, anyone else disliking it. Well, I've actually spoken to a few people in the flesh who said that they find the Chibnall era mediocre and pretty boring. Yeah. And I'm fine with that.
That's fine. It's not... Yeah. It's just this weird sense of competition.
I mean, because Love and Monsters, as much as I don't like it, it is based on fandom. So I do wonder, did Russell ever go to a convention where he met... I know Victor Kennedy is based on Ian Levine, but I wonder, are there more fans like that who do it in real life? Because if so, that's just even more depressing.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because Ian Levine was like rejoicing when Russell was announced as coming back.
Yeah.
And somebody just replied with that famous quote, where he said to Ian, no offence, you're not a journalist, so fuck off.
Because we all know Ian Levine told us that Doctor Who was going to be arrested for 5 years after 2022.
Yes. And a certain other person whose name rhymes with Schmilip Oris said that in 2020 Jodie Whittaker's Doctor will go out in an epic showdown against her arch enemy, the Daleks. What never happened, did it?
Well, that didn't happen.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I saw a video that said Jodie Whittaker to leave after Series 12.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say David Tennant left after Series 3 of Doctor Who. That doesn't mean I'm technically right.
Yeah.
Yes, he did leave after Series 3, but he did a series and a series of specials after that.
Exactly. Oh, I forget Harry Dean Stanton is in this. Legendary, prolific character actor Harry Dean Stanton as this janitor. Yeah. I forgot he was in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. Every time he pops up in a film, it's just like, hey.
Yeah, because he's in Alien, and I know, according to the director's commentary on The Green Mile, he came out of retirement for acting to play a small role in The Green Mile.
He did, yeah.
Wait, in Alien, is he like the janitor or the maintenance man, something like that?
I've forgotten. What does Brett do?
Yeah.
Let me have a look. Cause
I swear he's like the janitor. Does he just... is he just known throughout his career playing stereotypical janitors? Because in The Green Mile, he does play a prison janitor.
Brett was the engineering technician.
Ah, okay.
So.
Close enough.
The Instagram filters. They've returned.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dear.
It is nice that... I love how they describe the mind control in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, pull it out and stuff something else in. It sounds really grim.
Yep.
Do you know what it's like to be unmade? And of course, now that we
you know that I do,
now her history from Black Widow and what we find out in Age of Ultron, and that line has so much more meaning now.
Yeah, what Clint should have said is, it's not so bad. They go in through your nose and they let you keep the piece of brain they cut out. Join us, Natasha. It's bliss. That's a Halloween. Oh, I have to watch those again this Halloween.
Yeah,
I always try to watch them, the first 6 on October 31st, but I can't do that now because of Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'm 4 in, so I usually watch the first 12 or so.
I just marathon like the first 6 or something in like just on Halloween day. But I think I'll just save it for October 30th. Close enough.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, last year I did all of them. I watched every single one.
Really?
Yeah,
wow. All 30?
All 30 at the time, yeah. 31 hadn't come out yet, but so I watched one a day. And
wow, okay.
It was fun. It was fun to do. It was fun to see the evolution, and yeah, and discovered some new favourites, I think. Because although later on, as it gets later on, it wasn't as good, it was fun to kind of... There were some gems in there later on, and it was kind of fun to see some new favourites. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember, even though I don't like modern Simpsons, I'd always look into a Treehouse of Horror film, of a horror episode, just to see what they come up with.
I always say it, I always recommend the season 27 episode, Halloween of Horror, which isn't a Treehouse episode. It's like a normal Halloween episode, so The Simpsons at Halloween, but it's just not an anthology thing. And it's really good. It's
one of my favourites is from Treehouse of Horror 11 from later Simpsons, where hi, I'm George Cauldron. Is Diane ready? Almost. Just give her 20 minutes. Like, and he turns the temperature up. That is fucking dark. Especially when you hear her say, "Oh God, oh my God, I am in so much pain."
I love. I can't remember which one it is. It's sort of later on. The where Homer becomes Death.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I do like this. They've tried to play by S.H.I.E.L.D.'s rules to outwit Loki, and it's not worked.
Yeah.
But here, Loki is making this personal pretty much to everyone.
Exactly.
That's how we play at this game. That's how we beat the villain, by playing at their rules. Yeah, because they make it personal, and Tony Stark comes in and says, let's do a headcount of all the people you pissed off. A super soldier, a man with breathtaking anger management issues, your brother, a couple of master assassins.
Yeah.
Not a great plan. Oh God! Oh no! This started the portal in the sky.
Oh God! No. Yeah, this started a trend that should have.
Amazing Spider-Man did it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, TMNT. Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. What were it? Fantastic Four.
Oh God, yeah.
Was there like some movie executive who had a fetish for for portals being shot into the sky?
Likely. Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
The music. I love this as well. Son, just don't.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, I can see why he hated the helmet. It just looks so tight.
Yeah.
Luckily, it comes off very quickly.
That's an interesting bit as well. The like those cards, they were in his locker, not in his jacket. So it was interesting.
Yeah, they needed the push.
Willing to use that just to. Although I just got the image of him telling some poor intern like, "Go ahead and wipe this man's blood on these cards, please."
Yep. If you look at all the Avengers films, I'd argue that this film, the main character does feel like Cap, because he feels like the one out of time, and by the end he's, leading all the Avengers. Age of Ultron feels like Tony's film, because he creates Ultron, and probably has the biggest change throughout all of them.
Yeah.
Infinity War, I'd say that's Thor's film, because of his personal vendetta against Thanos. And Endgame, it's all three of them. It's all of their film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love that as well. It's just trying to show us something. Okay. Shoots him. Of course, the waitress that was in the deleted scene you talked about earlier, and we see her briefly at the end, that is famous voice actress. I've forgotten her fucking name. Shit.
She's just a famous voice actress.
Oh my god. Do you know how that thing, it's like her name was on the tip of my tongue and then it just went as I was saying it. That's annoying. Let me search. Ashley Johnson. That's it.
That's it, yeah.
Ellie in The Last of Us, I think, is her big thing.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Yes.
I love how I love how if you look at Thor Ragnarok, he's terrified of the Hulk. He's like, I have to get off this planet. But by Infinity War, he's like, we have a Hulk. Yeah. Not scared at all.
Remember this? That was in this coming up is in all the promotional materials at the time. The whole, if we can't protect the Earth, you can.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
At the time. I love this as well. Tries to turn him, and it's just
this should work.
Not uncommon. 1 out of 5.
Yeah, because that there does seem does strike me as a bit odd for Loki to actually be physical.
Yeah,
he just grabs him by the throat and throws him out the window. That's something I'd imagine Thor doing, but
it's like the
I suppose it works because. Yeah, because Loki would use tricks, manipulation, and jokes to attack his victims, whereas here he's desperate. Finally, the return of the circular arc reactor.
Yeah. Oh, there's one more person you pissed off. His name was Phil.
Mm-hmm.
So good. That is a proper punch the air moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a big thing after this film was #Coulson lives, because everyone was like refusing to believe that he died, and it was this big fan thing. So
okay. From what I heard, apparently Hulk bashing Loki about that got a standing ovation. Apparently in some screenings.
Yeah, I can imagine that, because Loki is such a hateable villain. He by this point,
you just like... Yeah, but I remember when this came out, there was so many. Apparently, there was so many like fan art of, particularly from female members of the audience who just could not get enough of Loki, of how much they loved him.
Still, like Loki stands are everywhere.
I think because I think a lot of women just go, "Aww," because he's pretty much like nothing goes his way. His plans usually fail. He's not physically intimidating. He gets bashed around by everyone. And I think girls are just like, "Oh, I want to give him a hug." He just wants to be accepted. I mean, there was a really good video Lindsay Ellis did recently about narcissism in the MCU.
Yes. No, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
It amazes me she got, quote-unquote, cancelled over nothing.
What was that about? I think, yeah,
She said something.
Yeah.
It was something like, I swear she said something like, oh, Raya and the Last Dragon, which is Disney's latest animated film, is quite similar to what Avatar: The Last Airbender or other anime or Asian animations. And like people were saying she was racist or something like that. Like,
it
what?
was an ill-judged comment from her on her
Yeah.
part, and I don't think the response helped, because she made a 2-hour video as a response, and it was just like, oh, you know, you could have just apologized. But yeah, no, she's not racist. It was just a ill-advised comment.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a dodgy comment.
Yeah, I mean, because the way what she said, it's like me saying, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings are the same, and people now decry that I'm sexist.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's so weird. Reminds me of that scene from Resurrection of the Daleks. They'd cancel anybody, even if they need them. How much longer before it's your turn? This whole cancel culture thing, for me, it's up to the individual if they want to keep supporting a certain creative. I won't force people to stop supporting them, but it's up to them. If if people want to support J.K. Rowling, then that's up to them, not me.
It is up to the individual, isn't it?
I can't force people to change their beliefs, but there you go.
The whole J.K. Rowling thing, I've really distanced myself from Harry Potter because of it. There is an argument for separating the art from the artist, but it's one of those things where I really struggle with that for some reason. I don't know why. It's just really every time I just look at that thing, I'm just like, I don't know. And the Joss Whedon thing as well, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to wrestle with, because he's made some of my favourite things ever, and
yeah.
Basically, I just wish people weren't pieces of shit. It'd be much more simpler if everyone was just nice.
Yeah, when you make entertainment, you do start to possess a certain amount of power. Yeah. And for me, power, it doesn't corrupt, it reveals.
Yes, definitely.
I think what's great about the action in this film is that it never feels boring. You think you've seen it all, and then it comes along and gives you something new. It's just a terrific climax. I never feel it goes on too long. I think it's just paced perfectly.
Definitely, completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful final battle, and it works because it's not just mindless action. You have the
because we've got
quips
to know these characters.
Yeah, and you have the nice quips to break it up, like the whole. You seeing this? Yep, seeing. Still working on believing.
What, you getting sleepy? They can't bank worth a damn.
Yes, yeah. And
compare that to the Doomsday battle in Batman v Superman. It's literally just smashy, and they're the three most iconic heroes in comic book history. And all they do is just go bang, 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 It's not like this where they form a plan or a strategy. It's literally just blind luck and coincidence.
They have that one bit, which is nice, where it's, she with you? I thought she was with you. That's
yeah, that was
funny.
Pretty good.
That's nice. But, yeah. Captain, it would be my genuine pleasure. That's,
Doesn't he wear a big purple triangle mask in the comics? In the comics,
it's like this big pink and purple thing, and the mask is like, yeah.
I'm glad that's not a thing here.
I hope. Well, in the Hawkeye TV series, I kind of hope we see it. To be honest,
is he getting his own TV series?
Yes, it's the next Disney Plus show.
Nice.
It's him dealing with the consequences of what he did in Endgame, like the people he killed. So yeah, Should be
Oh,
fun. And
right,
it's set at
okay.
Christmas. The trailer had this Christmas song playing over it. It's a big Christmas thing, so that should be fun.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and the comedy works well here, you know. Gives out orders. They ask, why should I take orders from you? Fights off an alien. Okay, let's do as he
Yes,
says.
exactly, yeah. It's weird to see an MCU film where the public don't know who these heroes are.
It is, yeah, because they're completely unknown at the time, kind of like the general audience a little bit.
What the hell was Step 2? It's so quotable, it really is.
Yeah, it is. There's a deleted scene from Civil War where we see from Iron Man's point of view. Happy? I want you to get everyone out of the building right now. Why?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a big alien invasion going on outside.
Yeah.
I never thought to evacuate the building until you told me. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, and again, just in 2 films, you buy that scrawny little guy from the first Avenger who had all those health problems is now leading a tech genius, a master assassin, a god, and a great big green hulking monster.
Yeah, exactly. And it's incredible. The evolution of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how that's a party.
Yeah, I'd say this is the most quotable MCU film because I'd say the most quotable line is, "That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry."
And that has gone down in, I guess, history. Like it is. Everyone knows that line now.
One of my favourites was used on a Game of Thrones video. "That's my secret, Captain. I don't have a penis."
Ba, 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 ba. Oh, it's just.
Oh god, the music.
It really
the
is.
Music,
just,
the music, the Chitauri screeching and the Hulk roaring back even
and
more.
At this point, the
panning shots just
cinematic history was made, and that was the
just
moment.
makes you want to put on a superhero costume and beat up aliens.
That was the moment where it was like, they've done it. They have actually pulled this off. They've pulled off this hella ambitious crossover.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you said earlier, hey, it's kind of a family film, and he says, "Light the bastards up."
Yeah. You mewling quim.
Have they ever dropped the F-bomb in an MCU film, I wonder?
I don't think they have.
Closest I can think of is Homecoming and Far From Home. What the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
And one detail I like is the Hulk obviously keeps bashing up all the Chitauri, and then they try and focus all their firepower on him.
Yes, yeah.
They see him as the biggest threat. Oh, wait. Should have been on the Empire State Building. Reminds me of Daleks in Manhattan.
Oh
Sorry,
God.
I got in the way of the lightning strike.
Yes, he can somehow control the amount of DNA he's putting into the into the thing.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Time Lord DNA. All freedom and no Daleks.
Yeah.
Evil of the Daleks came out on DVD recently. Dalek Factor, Human Factor. It's like a perfume.
Yeah. It can't bank worth a damn. So good.
Yeah. Have you ever seen an MCU film in 3D?
Yes. I think probably all of them up until. Well,
Right.
I can't remember it. This and Iron Man 3, but definitely Thor: The Dark World right up until probably Infinity War. I saw all of them in 3D.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Admittedly, some of those were IMAX showings, so they were IMAX 3D.
Oh, cool.
So, but yeah, it's very much of the era where it was commonplace for films to just be released in 3D.
Yeah, I've never seen an MCU film in 3D, mainly because I don't bother with it.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, sometimes they're not the best. Because, for example, apparently the first Thor film, when they released that in 3D,
Oh yeah.
Because of the bright gold and yellows of Asgard, it just looked really, for a lot, just looked really muted and garish for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with a lot of 3D screens, is they never bothered to turn up the brightness to compensate for the glasses, which they needed to do.
Yeah.
I like this as well. She's exhausted, and she's just like, oh,
Yeah.
I've got to ride.
I'll do this.
She's probably dead, not gonna lie, doing that.
Yeah.
They're just gonna rip off her arm just doing that, but
And the great thing is they all use their powers to help each other.
yes, it's showing creative ways.
Because there's a scene... Yeah, there's a scene later where, Iron Man hits a Cap shield and the laser bounces off and hits the Chitauri.
Yeah, it is a perfect way of showing these characters teaming up together. It's really good.
I know I'm gonna get more hate for this, but unlike Batman v Superman, where in the Doomsday fight, what's Batman's first instinct? Run away.
Yeah. Oh shit.
But we got that. We recreated that scene from the cover of The Dark Knight Returns, so it's validated.
That recreating scenes from panels of the Dark Knight Returns, despite the fact that you missing the point of those panels entirely.
Yep. I never got why he just punches Thor randomly there.
No, but it's funny. I think it's just the anger.
Yeah. It almost seems like something you'd see in a parody.
Yeah.
Oh, the hood's still on. Take it off. Take it off, you look like a McDonald's toy.
Literally.
Oh, is that the waitress there who just stopped? Or have we already missed her?
I think we might have missed her.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. I think we see her earlier when she goes inside the cafe and locks the doors or something like that.
Yes.
I think that was her.
And
Yeah.
she's at the end, going, "What? This is somehow their fault. Captain America saved my life." You know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you see any kids here, chances are it's Peter Parker and Ned.
Yeah.
And MJ.
Most likely. Well, yeah. Well, as we established, he's apparently in Iron Man 2 for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I love that. He looks at the arrow like, really?
Yeah.
Now, this line, puny god, was it said by Lou Ferrigno? Is it a mix of Lou Ferrigno and Mark Ruffalo, or is it just Ruffalo?
I know Lou Ferrigno did the grunts for the Hulk. Like, he voices... He does the... Like, I think it's Mark... I think it's digitally distorted Mark Ruffalo.
Ah, for puny god.
Yeah. It sounds like Ruffalo. I love the...
Yeah. reminds me of like Home Alone 2 after he's landed on the car.
Yeah. I got a huge laugh in the cinema. I remember it was just because it comes out of nowhere.
Have one of Loki's henchmen come up and say, "Loki, that was incredible." Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen him in an MCU film, Selvig, because last time he appears is Age of Ultron.
Yes, yeah, and then he's just mentioned.
Helps Thor go to a jacuzzi.
Well, it's been a while since we've seen Jane as well.
For the Dark World,
and I know she's in Endgame. I know she's in Endgame as a little cameo, but not really. Like, it's just.
Well, yeah, 'cause, again, it's not like present day Jane; it's her past self. I love reusing that shot of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Oh, and he just went through a window with bare arms. That is gonna stink.
Cut to ribbons.
That is gonna hurt tomorrow. Yep, they all fire on him, but it doesn't work, of course. Yeah.
I always forget about this as well, the fact that they're going to nuke the city.
Yeah. You're going to nuke one of the biggest cities in the world?
Yeah. I mean, I know there's aliens and shit, but fucking hell, that's... And it is a good sense that like all hope is lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, it raises the stakes naturally. It doesn't just say, "Oh, just stuff more aliens on." No, we've got a nuke if this problem isn't solved.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of commentary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another shot that was in all the trailers.
Yeah, that.
And he gets shot in the... it's probably
That's
brutal.
Gotta hoit.
Ready for another bout.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's intentional, but Thor tried to attack Captain America at the start with his hammer. Now he's using his hammer to defend him.
Yeah. Also, I know a lot of people point this out, but they all talk like they've got earpieces in, and they don't.
Yeah.
Like Cap keeps touching his ear, and he's got nothing in his ear.
Yeah, I do think they correct that for films like Civil War and Infinity War, where they actually have got earpieces in.
It's just funny the way they touch their ears, and it's like there's nothing in there. Doesn't that happen in Iron Man 3 as well? Like he taps his ear. It's just yeah.
Yeah, and this one shot of him looking up at the spaceship, and we see a close up of his eyes. It's brilliant. It just says it shows you just how much Tony Stark feels now, because he realised, I'm so small.
Yeah, it is a defining moment of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And it is at the end of Endgame.
And again, I love how his suit powers down, as if to say, you have no power in outer space. You're that small, Tony.
And it's like in Endgame, he's like, if you told me 10 years ago that we weren't alone in the universe, I wouldn't have been surprised. But who knew? Who knew this scale?
Yeah, because he just said close it. Like, did she hear him? He didn't touch an earpiece or anything.
Yeah, it's just suspend your disbelief.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, the whole catching Iron Man. And again, when they take the mask off, like, how close is that to his face?
Oh, yeah.
He looks so...
He's rammed in there. It's like a cheat.
Yeah.
Just smushed up against the... It's like a bit of Home Alone 2. They take his mask off, and then his nose is just like...
That was the sound of a Chitauri trying to invade the Earth. Yeah. Crack. Please tell me nobody kissed me. Oh, and I forget, the post-credit scene is them just sitting in a restaurant.
Yeah, eating shawarma.
That's it. You ever tried shawarma? There's a nice place
Which
here.
wasn't
2 blocks.
which wasn't in the original cinema release. It was added in like the second weekend.
Oh
Yeah, when
right,
it
okay.
first, like the day it came out, it wasn't there. It was added in a bit later, as like a
Yeah, because Chris Evans grew a beard, I think, for that, and he has to. He couldn't shave it off,
Yeah.
and they couldn't digitally remove it, so he just has to hide it. I
That's
think he's got
it.
like his
Yeah,
hand over his chin.
that's it. Yes, because it was filmed, I believe, after the premiere.
Yeah, would not surprise
It was
me.
filmed after the premiere, then added in later in the theatrical run as kind of a push for people to go and see it again. As like a, well, if you come see it again, and if you enjoy it, stick around and have this little bit of fun at the end. And then
Yeah,
it's just
'cause,
been in all the releases since then.
Yeah, this was the highest grossing film of 2012,
Yeah.
and the 3rd highest grossing film ever, I think, at that point.
We had it great in 2012 because we had Marvel and DC. We had best of both worlds. Dark Knight Rises was doing really
Yeah.
dark, gritty stuff, and this was just so colourful and so much fun.
Here we go. Superheroes in New York? Give me a break.
Yeah, the figure I have that's based on that is still in its packaging. I don't want to take it out because it's so
That's
special.
cool.
Like,
And again, as you say, no one knows who. It's weird watching an MCU film and no one knows who they are.
Yeah.
But again, it's the game changer because now every person on
Yeah,
Earth knows who the
exactly.
Avengers are. Just with that news montage. Yeah, Captain America
yeah,
saved my
that's
life.
Ashley Johnson, yeah. You can tell that she was meant to have a bigger part, like you said, that deleted scene.
Yeah, it feels like with that scene she's supposed to be important, but without that
Yeah.
prior cafe scene, it doesn't seem to work as much.
It's so good. It's literally, yeah. It's just got this wonderful feeling to it that it's kind of hard to explain. It's just, like, as soon as they did this, not only would the landscape of cinema would never be the same.
Yeah, now everyone is doing team up films. Or trying to build a cinematic universe.
Yeah, exactly. The MCU was changed forever. I mean, the line of dialogue here is like, I don't think you realize what you've started. And it's just like that.
Every world knows
that
it.
could not be more true just in the pop culture landscape.
Oh, yeah.
It's yeah. And just this ending with the theme as well. Oh, it's so good. And it's that everyone knows the Avengers theme as well. That is a known thing that people can now hum.
Yeah. Da, da, da,
Yeah, people hum that.
Na, na, na.
You know, the MCU gets a lot of stick for its music, and it is deserved because there's a lot of, they never seem to keep the continuity with the music, but the Avengers theme and the Avengers soundtracks are just amazing. And I love that it's stuck around.
Definitely.
And just, yeah, hearing it in the cinema when Endgame, with the big crescendo moment in Endgame, it's just like, yeah, this theme is still, it's so good.
Yeah, definitely. And I like how the tower's gone from Stark to Avengers, you know. The A's still there, but we all know what it stands for now.
Avengers Tower. God, it's good.
Yeah, just... It's such a terrific film.
Yeah, it really is. It's just such a... It's so much fun. Like, I can stick this on any day of the week. It is one of my favourite feel-good films.
Exactly, yeah.
And it really is. It's a cinematic achievement. It's a complete landmark.
Definitely, yeah.
Landmark for cinema.
I don't think a film topped this in terms of scale, excitement, and hype since probably until Infinity War and Endgame.
Definitely. This film just... it is this generation's Star Wars, and it will be for a lot of people.
Definitely, yeah.
It will be for a lot of people, and yeah.
Yeah, because I'd say in the noughties, the franchise that dominated the big screen was probably Harry Potter.
Definitely.
2010s, it was definitely the MCU.
Yeah, and who knows what it'll be for this decade?
Yep, multiverse.
Yeah, exactly. I love this title sequence as well. It's very cool.
Again, they could have used this for the opening titles. Yeah. It doesn't really give away that much.
It's weird. It's still weird to see in association with Paramount Pictures. It's just odd.
Yeah. It's so weird. When I was a kid, going into the Disney store, you'd only see things from their animated films.
Yeah.
You go in now, you see things from Marvel and Star Wars.
It's mental.
Here it is, Thanos.
Here he is, old ball chin himself.
Yeah, he's a completely different colour here, isn't he? He's practically maroon.
He looks a lot more like the comics version, to be honest. Like the classic comics version.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, when the design in Infinity War and Endgame is completely understandable why they did choose to change it, because it meant that Josh Brolin could emote a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, there he just looks a bit... That smirk, he just looks a bit goofy. Like,
I remember when, like I said though, I remember when that happened, I was just like, oh, they're building up to something. And I thought at the time, I think a lot of people did, obviously I was only a kid, but I think a lot of people were like, oh yeah, the next film. Completely unaware that they were like building up, for years in the making.
It was like in Age of Ultron, so many people expected, there's going to be a Spider-Man post-credit scene, and now it's just Thanos going, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah. And again, they were just building up, this thing for so long.
And I remember people being pissed off with that, saying, another reminder that Thanos is coming. I wonder if people ate those words after they saw Infinity War.
Yes, yeah.
Because going into Infinity War, I was quite sceptical, mainly because, how are they going to tackle like 20 plus characters, 20 plus superheroes, and all their supporting characters? How are they going to handle Thanos? Is he really going to be worth the hype? But we will get there. But the answer was
absolutely yes. God, this song, it's reminding me that this is still of the era of films where they would have the obligatory rock tie-in album. Which you don't really see it that much anymore. So it's like one of the last big films to... But yeah, it's my favorite. It probably always will be my favorite MCU film. I don't think...
Because Endgame, I think, has topped that, but... If I'm going for most accessible MCU film, I'd probably say this one, because, I could show this to anyone and I think they'd be able to follow it perfectly well, even without seeing the prior films.
And I've watched it so many times. I remember when I first got this on Blu-ray, again, when I was a kid, I watched it, and then I would take the disc out and then put it back in immediately, and I just watched the film again, and I just remember doing that, just putting it on a loop, because it's just
wow.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, they should call this the Amazing Avengers.
Well, actually, we haven't talked about the fact that the title was changed, really. I'm kind of...
Yeah, because of the British TV series, The Avengers.
They thought people would get confused, and it's like, that shows that says a hell of a lot about how well these characters were known back in 2012.
I mean, nowadays, if you say the Avengers, you think of these guys. Who thinks of the British TV show?
I don't think anyone is thinking of. It just says a lot on how times have changed. And I mean, Avengers Assemble, decent title, but I mean, I just know this film as the Avengers. To be fair, like that's just how I know it. It's weird actually that like nobody actually ever says Avengers Assemble in it. It's still weird to me that we were waiting until Endgame to hear that famous line.
Well, he's about to say it in Age of Ultron, but then it cuts out. I mean, there's even an outtake in Age of Ultron where Chris Evans goes, Avengers! And then just points to the camera and goes,
yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah. Appreciate all these people's hard work.
Not really related to the Avengers, but they've just released a trailer for Home Alone 6.
Yes, I saw that earlier. Have you seen who's in it though from the originals? Because it is a sequel.
Is it the guy from? Is it Buzz?
Buzz is in it as a policeman. I saw a bit of the trailer earlier, and Buzz has become a policeman.
He's probably the. Wait, what? He's probably the one person in that family who wouldn't become a policeman.
It's just but they've got the original actor back.
I know.
Yeah, no, I mean, Home Alone 6. Yeah, it's called Home Sweet Home Alone.
I know.
I like the cast. I like the cast, but I mean,
where's it going to take place? Fucking Mars. I remember going to a rehearsal of a show I'm going to be in this winter. They asked, what are all your Christmas traditions? I said, my traditions, every Christmas Eve, me and my family, we like to watch the first two Home Alone films. As far as I'm concerned, there are only two. Everyone started laughing.
Well, I think everyone knows that. Yeah, it's just a universally accepted
To be honest,
fact.
I think if you went to an average audience member, they'd say, oh yeah, I love those two Home Alone films. You know there's a 3, 4 and a 5, right? Is there?
Yes, yeah.
People would probably say that. But yeah. The Avengers, I should say, because we're not confusing with that British show. Terrific film, just the definitive light-hearted superhero film.
No,
and also, yeah. Oh god, look at Chris Hemsworth's hair. It looks so long. It looks really long and stringy.
You can tell they shot this after the
almost like seaweed. Yeah. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. looks like he's CGI'd in.
Yeah.
But, it's a decent gag.
It's fun. And the fact that it was added in later on in the run is like a thank you. It's just like, look, here's a little bit extra for people who've gone to see it again.
Yeah.
That's fun. But yeah. So that was the Avengers. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the commentary. Next time, what will we be doing next time?
We will be looking at the sequel, Avengers Age of Ultron.
We will indeed. So, in the meantime, go and subscribe to Isaac's channel. We will see you next time for Age of Ultron. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.